There's a beautiful story of Laila and Majnu. Laila loved Majnu and Majnu loved Laila. But Majnu was called mad for loving her. For most people who saw Laila was they saw her darkness. She was fat. She was considered not the stereotype pretty kind of girl. And she was supposedly crude in the way she spoke. And she was blunt. And she was, I think, the biggest flaw that was made obvious to Majnu was that she was really, really dark, along with all the other attributes and personality traits that she had. I was sitting with this idea of Laila and Majnu, and I realized that it was he fell in love with this woman who was considered not to be the normal kind that any man would fall or go for, but he did. What if Laila was his inner feminine that he fell in love with? And yes, so she was dark, and yes, so she was ugly, and so yes, she was crude. But what if her being crude was her being honest about her own self? What if the darkness that he fell in love with was not her skin color, but it was that she had the courage to stand up for that and what she believed herself to be? What if that darkness was the pain that he felt within himself? What if it was her external manifestation of his internal feminine? What if through her he fell in love with himself and the feminine that he has been suppressing because the world was not ready to accept it as something beautiful? What if he fell in love with his weakness within him and made it that what got him closer to the Creator, to his own self? What if she was the truth and he was the love? And what if the truth in him is what he fell in love with? And so he was called mad by the people around him. And he looked at people and called them and thought of them as mad for not seeing the beauty he was able to see in her, in him, in his darkness, in his being weak, being real, being authentic, being raw, being honest. What if he fell in love with his imperfect side through her, that made him come closer to the perfection of God Himself? What if it is you being called to love your imperfect side, so much so that the world sees you as mad, but all you see yourself as His perfect creation?